this week, and then the items that you just had due yesterday, they may still be a little while. So I work through all of those, I read all of your ideas, and I actually am, I love it. That's the part of teaching this that I enjoy the most, is seeing your creative and innovative business ideas. Many of them are actually very, very good. I've had a couple of students come into my office to see me about their business ideas, and a couple others that have requested an appointment, which is great. We're happy to help you get a business started if you'd like to explore that. The other announcement is, later in the semester at Snow College, for you as well as any student on the campus, there is a business idea competition, or let's see, it's more of a business plan. It's a little more than the business idea you submit. It's a write-up. So as you go through this semester, if you have anything that you really think, I could do that, you might want to hang on to that idea and put it in, submit it for your assignment, but remember that idea and then put it in that competition. It's called Opportunity Quest. And there'll be more information about that later. It's now my privilege to introduce Vivien Bohme, who is our guest speaker today. Vivien was raised in Brazil. She and her sister founded Böhme, and they now have 20 stores throughout the United States, maybe more than 20. I'm not sure if I've got that all up to date, plus an online store where you'll find women's apparel, accessories, jewelry, and shoes. You can see on the screen behind me the homepage of their website. Today she's going to share with you the story of her startup and what it took to get where she is and the successes that she's encountered, as well as perhaps the challenges. This chain that they have built has brought them some recognition. She may not bring that up, but I'm going to, just so you know. She was listed in the top 10 women CEOs of 2012, about 4 years ago, as well as being among Inc. 500's fastest growing companies. They were also featured in Forbes and Cosmopolitan magazine. And in 2015, Böhme was named as one of the Wasatch Front top workplaces in the small business category. Their company employs over 250 women who embrace the passion that Vivien and her sister, Fernanda, have for success. And it's that passion that drives the company today. Please welcome Vivien Bohme.
All right, so I'm used to speaking to mostly women, not that I can't entertain and keep the young men, focused. But let me share a funny story about Snow College. The last time I was here, I was 16. This is actually a bit of a bummer story. Maybe not a good idea to start, talking with it. But it was a young women, young men mutual. And we went swimming, and we were sleeping over in the dorms. And there was a young little beehive that went to my dorm, and she accidentally locked my door. So out we go swimming, we have fun, whatever. I go back, my door's locked, and I have nothing on but my swimming suit. It's around 10:30, everyone's getting ready to go to sleep. The young women weren't particularly fond of me, because I'm a bit of a tomboy. And for some reason, guys like tomboys. And so they didn't like, the girls didn't like me, and so they thought it was very humorous that I was outside with my sister and a friend, cold with the swimming suit, with nowhere to sleep, no ability to change into something warm and dry. And so with that, I was like, forget it. I'm going to the young men. I go into the young men, I'm like, guys, I need your clothes because I have nothing. They start taking off their clothes, giving it to me. That was fun, and I think I slept in the hallway of the dorm. I wake up, and my car, brand new. I've worked since I was really, really young. So I have this new little Hyundai Elantra, black. I like black cars. I was parked outside, and I wanted to go to the car to grab something, and I see toothpaste all over. And so we had an obstacle course that day. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go and wash my car. Nobody helped me for whatever reason. And so then I finished the obstacle course, and afterwards they were doing, maybe you guys know what it is, maybe you don't, testimony meetings. And I was like, okay, that's my limit. Because I'm not going to listen to people talk about how Christ-like they are when that just happened, right? I was like, no. So that was the last mutual I ever went to, was here. So that, okay, well, now you know me a little bit. I'm a vengeful woman. No, I just happen to be Brazilian. After years of saying, of hearing, rather, you're so passionate. No, I'm just Brazilian. Americans are just kind of dry. Toes, you know. Americans don't like their emotions strong or their coffee strong. So I was, oh my gosh, I had some documentary. We Brazilians worship this race car driver, Formula One. Unless you're European, you're probably not watching Formula One. I grew up watching it. And I think this country does NASCAR, right? And even then, I don't see it too much in Utah. So I grew up watching Formula One, and we Brazilians worship this guy, Ayrton Senna. Cool guy, humble, and so on. And in almost every other interview, he's crying. He's talking about the Lord. And I'm like, I do that too. So if I get a little emotional, no, it's in the water. I'm not overly sad. I'm not overly happy. It's just that's how we work, all right? So why do I get emotional? I love business. I'm an immigrant, and so when I was around 11 or 12 years old, my dad would have to do his master's homework, and he didn't have time because he was working, so he'd make me do it. So there I was, writing a report at age 12 for a master's degree on entrepreneurship, and that word stuck to me. And we were so poor that I'd go home. I actually just made that, see, it happened 3 minutes into it. I made that connection not too long ago, that this business was there my whole life. I just didn't see it, honestly, as an 11-year-old, as a 12-year-old. And I feel like my whole life, every experience, heartbreak, or good moment was a stepping stone to this. And so I remember going home, laying in my bed. I have extreme insomnia. In fact, I'm praying that the concealer gods are covering my dark eye circles right now. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it would be nice if I could live in a mall. I'd have the best furniture. I'd have good clothes. We couldn't even go to McDonald's. And I thought, my gosh, I could even go to a fast food restaurant if I lived in a mall. I now feel like I live in a mall. I've showered in a mall. I've slept in the floor of my university store when I was building it. And so how did I get there? At age 23, actually at age 21, my sister calls me up. I remember, like May 4th, 2004. She calls me up and she tells me, I'm going to be a fashion major. And I thought, you're LDS. Are you kidding me? That's like a kiss of death. You can't do it. Well, that's too bad. I'm going to do it. And I was like, no, you're going to do marketing. I'm the oldest child. I can tell people what to do. And so she's like, no, fashion's what it is. So I go and take a shower. And in that shower, I'm thinking she's never going to make money. The only way she's going to make money is if she has a niche. Back in the day, you know the cap sleeve shirts. Men probably don't, but you girls understand the cap sleeve, the famous little layering tees. That hadn't existed at the time. And I thought, nobody's doing that kind of stuff. And it's so hard to deal with, modesty and so on. I get out of my shower and I call for my sister, Fernanda. I'm like, Fern, I have a great idea. We got to do this. She's like, what? That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Who's going to buy cap sleeve tees, Viv? It is now like a $20 million business. But yeah, she didn't believe me at all. Not too long after, I became pregnant with my third child. So I have 5 children. And they just came bam, bam, bam. And for whatever reason, my credit was never good. I paid things on time. It was just like there's a hand going, nope, you're going to partner with your sister to do this. And Fernanda always had amazing credit, so I needed her to get the financing, because I was broke as a joke. My husband was going to go to, he was going to BYU, almost graduating. We had 3 children. It just wasn't going to happen. So a year goes by, and I deliver my baby, and I'm still thinking, I need to do that business. The little voice just doesn't leave. Guys, if you have that little voice, listen to it. Because the worst thing is to have regret. And so then I see all these businesses popping up, doing these T-shirts, and I'm thinking, that's my idea, those are my millions. No, no. A couple months later, I went to a different company that they did real estate investing. Back in the day, it's 2006, credit is just flowing. If you have a name and a social, you're getting credit. And this company had a really cool scheme where they will give you, well, you were able to do hard money loans, and they give you some sick interest, like 3 to 5% a month. And they would buy real estate, I don't know, stuff. And I worked there, so I was like, wait a second, 5% a month, 3% a month, that is a lot better than a loan. So I devised this plan. If I take an SBA loan, and I take an American Express card, and I put the SBA loan into this company, the money is enough to generate to pay for the loan and whatever expenses I did. So 2 years after my idea, with that risk-free financing, I convinced Fernanda to do the business with me. Well, the idea was a really cool one, that my cousin got into it. My husband's boss and his father-in-law got into it. My old boss got into it. My best friend got into it. All in all, $650,000 personally guaranteed to me. I was 23, 24 at the time. Oh, guess what happened? That money evaporated. That company lost over $100 million. I know of friends that went to jail because of it. Many lives were shattered. Just shattered. So here I was at 25, 4 kids now, $650 million, or $650,000 in debt. I just love that million. Anyway, $650,000 in debt, plus the house, everything. I think we had $1.1 million in paper debt, maybe $300,000 in assets to go against it. Whatever you do, don't overfinance. Turns out I'm really good at finance stuff. I was able to get cars that I wasn't paying for because the interest was so good. So now, at 25, you have your mentor. You have an old man going, so that was my life savings. What are you going to do about that? Not a fun place to be. And so we had an American Express card left. And I told Fernanda, this is it, we're opening a store. You know, and of course she's thinking, you're a freaking idiot, Viv. You just lost like over $500,000. What do you know? Like, I don't know, but we're opening a store because I got to pay those people back. And it's going to happen now. And so I went to Fashion Place, and I was like, hey, you guys have a store available? And they're like, well, it just so happens there's this temp spot. It was 600 square feet. They wanted $10,000 a month for it. And I was like, okay, sure. Is that how much it costs? Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know how much you pay per square feet, and it's a holiday, it's a temp lease. My retail experience was 3 weeks at Dillard's, 4 months at Ross. My sister had done a few years at Cachet, which has gone out of business. They sold dresses and stuff. And I'm more of the numbers and business person. She's more of the creative and so on. And I was like, well, we're going to do it. So I forced her into it, and we probably signed the lease October 1st. We were open November 1st. We had no idea how to buy. Fernanda she got a flight to LA, dropped into the, you guys, fashion is not pretty. Not at all pretty. I think my friends are very surprised who I am or how I dress. I'm very simple. I'm kind of fancy today, but you usually see me in sneakers and jeans because I'm usually building something, doing construction, out in the warehouse doing this and that, because I know how fashion's made. Half of the time I'm holding my breath because whatever they're eating or they're building stinks. And these people, they don't speak English. They're either Koreans, Brazilian Koreans, or they're Mexicans. And so great brands are built in a place that looks, woof. And so I can see right through it, you know. And so it's a scary place to be. It's really ghetto. And there goes my sister. She buys stuff. We didn't know how to price. So things that today Böhme would normally price at 28, 32, we were pricing at like 55, 72. Hey, if we could get away with it, we would. So it was a great lesson in price elasticity. And so we opened in Fashion Place. We broke even. That's it. And I didn't pay my credit card. I kept the money. I had to go bankrupt. Whew. And that money was just keeping my sister's credit alive. Because I knew after we opened Fashion Place, I made a ton of mistakes. You see, here's the problem. I'm a Brazilian woman. I've been here for almost 25 years. But my core, no matter what, is of a Brazilian woman. Any of you ladies would be able to open a store better than me, faster than me. And the reason is because in Brazil, the way we show status is really different. The Europeans, Chinese, everyone around the world but the United States show status by wearing brands. We're very formal. Jeans is what you wear on an off day, and you pair it with sneakers. Americans, though, because you guys have such a great, you guys, as if I'm not part, anyway, I'm practically an American. Because America has such an amazing standard of living, because things are so accessible, and it's, like, I always think it's funny when people go, Böhme is so expensive, and I'm like, oh, no. America's cheap. You haven't seen expensive. What Böhme sells for 28 in Brazil would be about 105. Like, a Camry is $100,000 down there. Just crazy. And so because we can get whatever we want, the way we show wealth is dressing down. Thus the famous uniform of flip-flops and jeans to a wedding. Because you are subconsciously telling the world, I'm so cool that I have somewhere else better to be than this. You probably never thought of that, right? I can tell you all sorts of things. And hopefully, maybe I can get some of you to boycott Victoria's Secret. But anyway, long shot, I know. And so I learned that the hard way. We built this beautiful little black and white shop, cute little BB-like clothing. This is where before BB went hoochie. Yeah, you women know. The guys are like, huh? And so it was just adorable. And these 40-something women would come in and go, oh, the clothing's for little people, but my daughter would love this. I'll bring her here. And so then the daughter would come in the next day and go, Mom, take me to the Buckle. And I was like, the Buckle, the brown store? Why are people going there? I had no idea. Because to me, in my mindset, that's country bumpkin stuff. What are people doing to touch that? So then I set out, they're still my arch enemy. We've actually gotten a little lawsuit. Anyway, so now, I hate them. I actually now hate somebody else more. It's the bane of my existence. Maybe I'll talk about them, maybe not. So then what I did in 2007, this is 2007, right? Recession's about to hit. I sit outside every retail shop and I do a SWOT analysis. Do you guys know what a SWOT analysis is? Anybody? Let me give you a trick. My old boss taught me this. Save my hiney. So, you have your strengths, you have your weaknesses, you have your opportunities, you have your threats, right? So let's do a SWOT analysis on a big retailer. Anybody shout out a retailer? What? Buckle. Lovely. All right. Yeah, actually, you know what I do in because I love to train my girls in numbers and math? I say competitor B. I actually don't use the name competitor or the word competitive. I say enemies. I'm at war. One of my favorite books to read is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Amazing, okay? So competitor B, what are some of their strengths? I know, I don't think they have any either. What are some of their strengths? I'll tell you what, they're amazing with denim. You can go in there, whatever inseam you are, they'll get you fitted. What else? They have brands. Okay, what else? Reputation, status. Why do they have the reputation, guys? Why do they have status? What? The brands, but what else? I heard it. Consistency, expensive. We tend to equate status and reputation by the price point. So yeah, they do that purposely. So I hate the Buckle, but the Buckle happens to be #1 sales per square feet in most of the malls that they're in. They're an amazing machine. I don't like their product, but I think they're an amazing machine. What weaknesses do they have? I just mentioned it. They're behind the times, aren't they? And we'll discuss why. And I don't want to offend people. You cannot be PC in the fashion industry. You have to call it as it is. But I'm really not a brand snot. I don't really care what you wear. So just letting you know, that's my intent, okay? I'm not going, oh, I can't believe you're wearing that, you know? That's okay. So they're behind the times. What else? What's a weakness of the Buckle? They're mostly rural areas. So it's a strength because of low competition, but they're mostly in rural areas. And we can keep going. What opportunity do they have? Is to get more fashion-forward product. And so on, okay? They could have a better build-out. It's boring. But it serves the purpose of getting high dollars per sales per square feet. One thing that I see in business, guys, is the lack of math. And I'm not talking about you need to know the Pythagorean theorem. Did I say that right? I don't know. I'm not talking about calculus. I sucked in calculus. It just so happens I'm kind of good at quantifying things and breaking things down. It is a skill. I have so many young women coming up to me and saying, you know, or asking, how do I get into the fashion industry? Get good at math. Fast. That's why Böhme also became #1 sales per square feet in the women's category in almost every mall we were in. Because I'm really good at math. And so I got to the point that if I moved a table a little bit, 20% of my sales went out the door. So if you think Böhme's really tight to walk into, there's a purpose. I lose customers if I make the store too open. I don't know why, I just do. So what threats do they have, you know? Upstarts. Or startups, right? Böhme. And so on. So I did that with every retailer because I thought my concept sucks. It's wrong. It's wrong. But what do? In 2007, Abercrombie & Fitch was still hot. BB was hot. Then you had like premium brands like, you know, True Religion, Rock & Republic. All these companies are like bankrupt now. Then you had a Nordstrom. We didn't know. And again, what does the girl from Rio know? So I did all sorts of crazy experiments. I put denim in the front of the store and watched it fly. I switched my price points. I put expensive things in front of the store versus the back. What happened? And I got a pretty good math. We still knew we had a wrong concept. We invite University Mall to come in, and University Mall, poor guys, they get some funky stores. And I think I contributed to the funkiness, but they are so desperate to get some nice national chains, but we Utahns are kind of funny. We are super cheap. That's okay, that's who we are. We like frugality. But it's funny, because we'll spend just as much as our friends in LA. We just want to buy 20 tops, and they'll buy 3 really good ones. Does that make sense? We value quantity, not so much, what's the word? I hate saying quality, because you can get, sorry, my cheapest denim have better quality than the $300 True Religions or whatever. So I don't like to use price. But you guys understand what I'm trying to say, right? And so we have a hard time getting those people in. And so when university goes into a temp store, and it's just adorable, they're like, girls, how can we get you guys in there, you know? I'm like, okay, here's what's going to take. This and this and this, and this is the concept, and like, whatever, just sign on the dotted line. A couple of months later, we opened that store. And because I had heard over and over, oh, they look expensive, let's not go in, because again, Americans do not like to show their status that way. And because we're in Utah, anything that looks expensive, we do not go in. There's a reason why McDonald's and Burger Kings look, you know, not so good. It's because they not only want you to know that their food is cheap, they're showing you that their food is cheap. But in Brazil, in other countries of the world, if you guys have been to McDonald's, it's a little nicer. Because again, the wealth, the status, everything's different. And so we made it a point to make the store look like shizzles. So I got on my hands and knees, because I didn't have any money. I had no money. I got on my hands and knees for about 10 hours and did the cement all black. I went out for a second. I come back in. My sister painted the whole store black. I'm like, what the? When you wanted the store dark, I was like, oh my gosh, these are black walls. And then we didn't have any money for fixtures, so we went to DI, spray painted some, put some boxes in, got some counter from a woman that wanted to open a store, but she had cancer. It was a mess. We had no money to put in the till. We had no money for inventory. Because the build out I thought was going to be $5,000 turned out to be $30,000. That's a big mistake. I'm still making that mistake, I swear. Construction is a beast. So anyway, finally we get to opening the doors. I still have a full-time job. Fernanda still has a full-time job. Guys, do not quit your jobs. Do not quit your jobs. I understand the lure of entrepreneurship. But let me tell you what happens the day you quit your job. You operate in fear. And the day you operate in fear is the day you start making really bad decisions. And now your decisions are, let's get food on the table, not what's best for the business. So if you can hang on to your job as long as possible, don't screw your employer over, give them their 8 hours, whatever hours, you know, be honest. But do not quit your job. So we didn't quit our jobs. We were still working. I was doing 70 hours a week, no days off. Within 2 months, Böhme became #1 in sales per square feet in that mall. And the mall managers were like, what the heck is happening? I mean, the store looks, you know, but people thought it was cool, you know. We had a little rock and roll thing to it, an edge. Maybe if you guys even went to that store, remember that, we were rock and roll back in the day. And I think because we had that unique perspective, we went fast. So as soon as we hit #1 sales per square feet, the ambitious little girl, me, said, we're opening a second store. Because I knew that with the second store, I can pay people back faster. Remember, I'm still owing $650,000. By now, because of Böhme, we've added $200,000 to that debt. I'm like, $850,000, and I found out I'm pregnant with my 5th child. I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I march into Fashion Place, and Fashion Place is like, no, I'm not going to let you have a store, whatever, because we already have this boutique, this local boutique that's come. I hate the word boutique, by the way. We use it because when I say, yeah, Böhme, people go, well, what's Böhme? What's a boutique? See? But I hate the word boutique. And so we go into Fashion Place, and they say we can't do it. So my heart's broken. How is it that those guys that I pay $10,000 a month don't have a space for me, accidentally went to a local competitor that's ripping me off, and I don't even get to be here? No. I'm opening a second store. I go into Gateway. Remember, February 4th, 2009. Blizzard was going on. But even though we had a blizzard, more people walked in front of that storefront, which was behind an escalator, sandwiched between J. Crew and Victoria's Secret. More people walked by than my university store, and we were doing okay with the university store. So, well, what the heck, why not? And when you do bold plans, either opening a business or growing your business, it's there's something in the world that all this negativity will come your way and go, don't you think you're growing a little too fast? Don't you think you're a little young for this? You need systems, you need this and this. And I'm like, no, I need cash. So we opened. We had no money for contractors. I built the store 9 months pregnant. Yes. I can probably get around power tools better than any one of you guys. I do have some. I actually almost died when a sock kicked back and hit me right in the sternum. And if it weren't for a front class bra, might have been a goner. It stopped it. Yeah, I have stories. So, and sorry, construction's on my mind because I just built my university store and I was there, and I'll get to it. And I wish I had pictures, but it just opened yesterday. And you know, pictures from an iPhone to show here, not cool, not brand appropriate anyway. So now I'm at Gateway. I built the store. I take 1 day off because I was already getting swollen, and I hadn't even had time to buy a onesie for the baby. Not a onesie, not a blanket. I go in and I wake up at 5 o'clock from my C-section, I go to the hospital, have the baby. My husband drives me, I'm not lying, right, honey? My husband picks me up, okay, let's go. We go to the UPS store, pick up the POS, stands for point of sale, people. We want to get ideas. We go back into Gateway. Sophie's, that's her name, Sophie's first location's not home. It's the store. The reason that I was able to have growth is because my life is Bohme. I'm not just Bohme. It's my life. I breathe retail. That's what I do. And when I'm not breathing it, I'm reading about it. We joke around at Bohme that our competitors are probably getting their nails done, getting their eyebrow technique perfected so they can do that perfect Instagram shot. I'm out reading, and I'm out talking to people. Do not think that you're going to open a business because you don't want to work for the man. I have worse bosses than a boss. I have customers. I have vendors. I have employees. They're very demanding. I don't get to take a time off. The birth doesn't stop the business. Does that make sense? A business is a full-time commitment. You better have your spouse or your family, whoever's your support system, equally committed. In I don't know how many years, 8 years I've been doing this, my husband's never once said, it's the business or me. Never once. That's kind of rare. Thanks, Mr. Bunny. It is a tough thing. If you do exercise a lot, you're going to have an amazing body, but you're not going to have an amazing business. Does that make sense? I know you've heard a lot about balance. I'm a woman. There is no such thing as balance. No. Look, my husband's very supportive. So, example, today was picture day at school. At 7 a.m., I had to meet the painting contractor. I'm completely sleep deprived. So I have to go there, and then go, Jose, you have to deal with picture day. Do you think a man's going to do the perfect Pinterest outfit plus their hair? No. Those other men that will do it, maybe. My husband's not one of them. He's not going to sit there and go, what nutritious meals are going to happen? And so the pressure, I feel, in my perspective, is harder on women. If you can be the woman with no insomnia, waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, exercise, because the world expects you to be fit. You don't know how many times I've met people, and they're like, oh, you're the owner of Bohme. Because they want to see a 5'9" model, and I'm not. In fact, I've gained a few pounds from this construction shenanigans and the stress. So if you can wake up super early, get your things done, take care of yourself, take care of your family, go to your job, and be uber productive, yes, you can do it, no problems. I happen not to be it. So my life is way out of whack. And I get really gritty with you guys because I've watched so many executive lectures where they're like, yeah, I just jumped off a helicopter and I'm skiing. And they're swagging up here. No. Nobody's talking about, so my partner's Josh James. I don't know if you guys have heard him. Domo, Omniture, that's the guy. Nobody's seen him cry on the floor because he couldn't make payroll back in the early days. And he's not talking about it either. He did with me. It is tough. You will become like a bag of damaged goods. But in between, there's some beautiful vistas. It is not all doom and gloom, guys. I'm just being honest. Anyway, I digress. So Gateway opens. At a great sacrifice. I have zero in the bank. I still have the $800,000 in debt. Gateway becomes #1 sales per square feet in 2 months. Behind the escalator. Okay, now Fashion Place is knocking. I have no money. I just built the store. Sure, we're going to do it. I opened Fashion Place. I laid the floors myself. Now I have this really cool little kit of tools. We open. No money. Like my bank account has like $3,000. That's like nothing. The sign falls on a Saturday afternoon. We all have bad jujus. On the opening, oh my gosh, it's the saddest story. The kid that was doing my visuals, his stepdad committed suicide. And so you're just like, what? I'm trying to open a store. I'm still painting in the back. That just happened. I have to drive you to the hospital. Oh, bad, bad. I have lots of stories like that, by the way. And so then fire marshal comes in and goes, yeah, your exit's not clearly delineated. We're like, what do you mean? It says exit. There's a door. You need a pony wall to guide the people to the exit. You're being shut down right now. He shut us down for 2 weeks. So now we're in there going, what the freak are we going to do? We have no money. And we hear people in the hall, geez, I thought they just opened. Because we put a sign, instead of being condemned by the city, we said, we're closing for remodel. Like, they just opened, why are they remodeling? What are we going to do? We remodeled. And I got this inspiration to do this whole hot pink, white. Remember, we couldn't make the store nice. Nice does not make sales. Cool did not make sales back in the day. I had to make a ghetto, but still cute, but still this. And I figured something out. We opened. I went back to university, got a new spot, which is by the food court today. Well, was as of yesterday. Made that. Guys, we built that store too. No money. By Thanksgiving, I don't know what was in the water. We blew up. Not just by a little bit. That was one of the best days of my life. To see your business go from the thought to the physical. It took us 2 years really to get there. So now we're #1 sales per square feet in every store. We are the best temp program in the nation for GGP. I got featured in the Wall Street Journal because of this and that. Meanwhile, now Böhme, people, different malls are hearing about Böhme's success, and they're like, so how do we get a Böhme? Well, this is how you get one. So we started growing. And because I was following competitor or enemy B had a really good time growing because they went into rural areas. Rural areas, well, Anthropology doesn't want an rural area because they happen to be kind of cheap. Coastal areas, they spend more because they have more people to compete with. Does that make sense? And because there's more competition, the wage, I know it's funny, they have more competition, the wage is also higher. You have more money flowing into it. So people aren't going to balk at paying $120 for a top. You try selling a $120 top here in University Mall. It's kind of hard. Nearly impossible. And so now I thought, yeah, I'm so cool. I'm going to go where the buckle is. Cheap rent. They're going to give me tons of money to build out. They like bling jeans. Böhme's blowing out with bling jeans. Do not deny that you wear bling jeans because I sold like 80,000 pairs of it. So somebody was wearing them because everyone denies it now. And so then Böhme started growing. Seriously, I feel like I just got started. All right, this is the biggest lesson. Böhme starts growing. I have 2 stores in South Dakota. I have stores in Iowa. I have stores in Independence, Missouri. Guess what happens? 2013 happened. 2013 is the year Utah decided to stop with the shabby chic and go clean. Böhme was not ready for that because my South Dakota customer's not ready for that. If you're in a consumer goods business, which the majority of women will, some of you guys will, because it's cool to have a brand, you have to understand what flows in Utah does not flow in Georgia. And what flows in Georgia does not flow in New York. And New York does not go into LA. It's not that one's behind the other, because I love when I hear, oh, Utah's so behind. We're not behind. We have a completely different lifestyle. And the way, just like we show status different from the rest of the world, the way each major city or metropolitan area or market, however you want to define it, the way we show sexiness, that's the word, is different. Or sexy in Utah is an implant. Yeah, we like implants because we're not going to show skin. So how are we females going to show sexiness? We do lots of hair and makeup, more so than anybody else in the world, I think. I've never seen any more beautiful looking women than in Utah. We do lots of hair and makeup. Everything we do is cute and sweet because we have to cover this and this and, you know. You go to LA, grunge is in. Why? Because you can show your skin. You go to New York, they're probably wearing something like this. Why? Because they have a lot of European influence due to having a lot of European immigrants and money, right? How are they showing wealth? Different. So I like to refer to, I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is how innovation flows. You have your early adopters, right? Let's put them as EA, early adopters. Then you have your mass. Then you have your laggards. So if you think about it like an iPhone, I still have people who are like, I'm just barely getting my iPhone, my first smart card. It's 2016. They're a laggard. But when it first came in 2007, 2006, only the early adopters took it because it was really expensive. It takes a while for a new idea, in my industry for a new silhouette to catch on. Got it? So in Utah, Böhme became slow, became dumpy. In South Dakota, I'm still here, I'm still cool. How do you change that? We talk about innovation a lot in tech, right? The tech guys kind of have it easy. Not really, because their R&D sucks. But are you not going to want a newer, snazzier iPhone? Yes. Aren't you going to want a newer, snazzier laptop? Yes. Which one of you guys are going to wear a flare bottom jeans right now? Not so easy. Flares have been in for 3 years. Flares for you guys, wide bottom jeans. Not going. The fashion industry's been trying to push that. But we're still in skinny bottom, big oversized top. That is the silhouette. That's what the masses want. It is suicide for a consumer goods company to do this at my price point, because early adopters want to spend more. So what do? Meanwhile, when you're trying to figure this out, everyone in the valley's ripped you off. There's not a store today, I don't care how many Instagram followers they have, that has not been influenced by Böhme. We were the first ones to buy the way we do at our price points. And we did it better than most people in the nation. So I know, people are ripping me off. They get to have a cute little shiny white store. We're still stuck in shabby chic. Let me tell you what I did. I get an investor. I get expensive executives. Please be careful when hiring executives. You really are good enough. You really do know your company, and you know it better than anyone else. They came in, nearly ravaged my company. At the same time, my customers churning because nobody wanted to buy there. It's not the cool place anymore. And my employees are getting unhappy because they're not winning. So I'm applying more pressure. Competitors take all of them. And they're opening new concepts that look exactly like a Böhme. So what do? You are now, again, out of cash after all those years you put into it. Your top talent left. I have a few. Actually, the ones I have now are better. And you're being ripped off, and it's easy to rip you off. You kind of get down and pray, and then after that, you start building. I thought, I'm never going to let this happen again. I'm going to have breathing, living stores. Böhme will now have a construction company inside of it. Seriously. because I'm going to be switching my stores to whatever my customer feels like is hot. Like right now, she likes do-it-yourself furniture. And she likes cement. She likes floral. So my new store has that. And in 7 months, maybe she'll decide that red and silver are it. We're going to switch it. Because it's hard to do that. And the harder things are, the less likely your enemies are going to copy you. If you can master this, I forgot what this is called. It's like a consumer adoption curve. If you can master this for your customer and know them inside and out, there are so many cool businesses waiting to happen. So many, just by mastering this. And every city and every market is different. So a retailer that can master New York, LA, Utah, and Florida, that's cool. It's very hard to do. Not just a retailer, but a brand. A local brand, Stance. They've been able to master it. And they do so by creativity. Before, I felt like I had to have all the answers. Now, I'm trying to form a council. I'm trying to do an atelier. Do you guys know what an atelier is? It's a place where art happens. It's like a studio. And I'm inviting people that do plants, and that cook, and they're craftsmen, and they're metal workers. I've learned to weld. I'm making my own tables now. Because you can't find them in our city. You can't go to IKEA and find it. Does that make sense? I'm making it super hard to copy Böhme. Super, super hard. I will see fruits of my labor in the next year, but in the last year, I've had growths of 40 to 70% just by doing that, just by doing build-outs and so on. I've killed my South Dakota stores. My out-of-state isn't working for me. I have to go there and do the same. But anyway, that's been my ride. I guess I'm out of time because but I have a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions? By the way, I paid people back in 2010, before I grew. I paid everyone back. I do not owe anybody money. No? Was I that good of a speaker that I left it like super clear? I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Who's my... Is it ethical to talk about enemies? Because, well, you know what? They're not being ethical to me. And I'm a vengeful woman. It's down east. I will kill them. They're not very nice. You know what? It's tough when I do, and they're not the company that does this, because they're not the only ones. I'll do a window, and within 3 weeks, down the mall, there'll be another window just like it. Just like it. And so I feel like I'm down east best employee for free sometimes. Or not just down east, other companies too around the. But you know what? I'm kind of grateful for the competition. I started Böhme with let's buy this and sell low. No, buy low, sell high. Now I'm doing an atelier where people can come in, and if you have an idea for a shirt, we can print it right there. I have all sorts of art supplies that I'm going to have there, plus a welding, plus a woodworking shop. And then the marketing we're going to do is going to be freaking amazing. All these things are making my company so much better, so that when I hit New York, yes, the strategy's changed. I can't be cool in Arkansas, but LA will make me cool. Does that make sense? Don't be afraid of facing the competition. That was my biggest mistake. All right. Do I stand here and let I go?
Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your passion with us. I wasn't lying. She's pretty passionate about this, right? Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. It's going to be a tough quiz. She gave me a lot of things to quiz you on.